Heard about those 3 crypto billionaires that passed away recently. Do you ever worry about the Illuminati whacking you, Uncle Charlie? There are secret societies and there are occultic practices. If you look at the long arc of history, it's a really fascinating topic. If you look at the foundations of the Soviet Union, there was all these Masonic lodges and Rosicrucians or variants of them who basically were interconnected with the Bolshevik inner circle, including Lenin. And they basically planned the overthrow of the Tsar through those lodges. Hitler actually had a really interesting history as well. So after he got out of the army, after World War I ended, the army kept him on as an intelligence officer. And at the time, a lot of communist elements and anti-Wehrmacht Republic elements were part of these secret lodges. So they actually had Hitler join them, and he was hanging out with the Thule Society people and these others. This whole Aryan philosophy came out of Volkishism, and he did magic rituals and all this other stuff. In fact, his book collection was over 16,000 books, and there was a ton of occult books inside of it. Himmler was like a double dose of that. The entire SS were modeled on an occultic order. In fact, his headquarters was basically like a dark Camelot, and they would do human sacrifices there. And if you were an SS officer and you died, they'd take your ring and do a ceremony and bury the ring there. So there's all this occultic stuff. America is no different. We do tons of these things. There's a strong Masonic origin with the founding fathers. If you look at the design of Washington, D.C., it's quite occultic with the layout of the streets. And there's a lot of secret societies and secret orders. There's even fraternities that are secret societies, like Skull and Bones, for example, that are connected to the George Bush and his father, both of the Bushes, John Kerry, dozens of people. So politics, religion, there's always some occultic connection, even when you don't think about it. If you're Catholic, there's a ritual called transubstantiation. So the priest does some stuff, and then he transmutes the wine and bread into blood and flesh. It's kind of a pagan ritual if you really peel the layers back behind it. And there's every sect, Islam, you have the Sufis, you have the Rosicrucians with the Christians, or the Jesuits were actually founded on occultic foundations. And then when you look at the Jews, there's the Kabbalah in this respect. And the whole point of occultism is basically discovering the hidden. And then when the practitioners do that, they usually take it another step of saying, now that we know the hidden, we are illuminated, and thus with the illuminated knowledge, we should have power. And they start taking things over. So it's no coincidence that secret societies and occultic orders tend to also be people in positions of authority and power. And in some cases, they actually overtake an entire government in that respect. So there's a lot of people running around that they believe an Illuminati exists. And why is that? Well, because things keep happening that don't make sense. For example, this is the United States, a country of over 300 million people. We have the best and the brightest people here. They come from all over the world. Everybody comes here because it's a powerful country. It's a great place to live, especially if you're the best and brightest. So why is it in a country that has so many amazing people that our leader is an 80-year-old person who probably is suffering from dementia? How did that happen? Well, it's very easy to explain that if there's a New World Order, an Illuminati group, especially if the leader is not really pro-American, is doing a lot of things that you feel from your politics are anti-American. So, okay, the same with the woke stuff, the same with the way the media is structured, how BlackRock gets a complete pass on everything, even though they are worth more they have more assets under management than the market cap of Microsoft, Facebook, Google, Apple combined. Just a lot of stuff that seems to be moving in directions that are deeply uncomfortable, and yet it just happens. You see WEF, where they say you'll own nothing and be happy, and they all get together in secret cabals, and they kind of plan an agenda for how the world is supposed to roll out. And you think to yourself, gosh, there must be some directionality to that. I'm of two minds on it. I mean, is it possible that there does exist secret societies, occultic orders, and illuminated people that have enough political power that they can then leverage that to control things? Absolutely. Is it the case that the world is deterministic? We have no free will, and all of our hopes and dreams are basically at the mercy of a small cabal? I don't think so. The world's too nuanced and complicated, and I've met a lot of world leaders, and if there was a grand plan for them, then I think that they wouldn't be there. I do believe there are trends. Social credit is one. ESG is another trend that are the tools of tyranny. And if they fall into the wrong hands, they would be a blueprint to control the entire world. But I don't believe these tools are right now ubiquitous in that respect. But it's a fascinating topic, and I think AI will expose it. So what you would do is you use all these sophisticated large language models and AI stuff that's coming out, and you just take a look at everything and you create a prediction engine of the optimal behavior or optimal decision to make in a circumstance. And then you'd see the outcome, and you'd see every case where there's a suboptimal decision that's been made. And then what you do is you look for a pattern, and you try to find where there's consistently poor decisions that are made, but no consequences for those consistently poor decisions. This is, forensically speaking, a great pattern for corruption or some nefarious intent. And we do this all the time in corporations when they're looking for theft, employee theft, these types of things. They say, well, on average, we should have like a 4% theft rate. Or if I'm running a bunch of restaurants, my liquor loss. You measure your food costs and your liquor loss and these types of things. And if it's a little too high, then that's a strong indication that management is allowing people to steal food or to, pouring drinks a little too aggressively or drinking themselves, taking the alcohol home. You could apply that on a global scale across every nation state, especially as open data becomes available. And then a web will form if there is indeed a new world order, because it's pushing the world in a particular direction, and that particular direction does not benefit the masses in that respect.